Alright, fam, it's your boy Twins on Please. It's Twins on Please. Guys, the David situation continues to get even more crazier. Apparently, this man hired a hitman to off his hand. His underage hand, mind you. Anyway, like, comment, and subscribe. This video is by Maury. It's your boy Tways. Let's get into this, boy.
Now, according to latest reports, according to You Ain't That Hard Fool on Instagram, they say private investigator says police know the identity of the last person that drove David's Tesla with Celeste Rivas' body inside, but they can't yet reveal who it is. And I just gotta say, duh. Obviously, electric vehicles, Teslas, and the like have a fuck ton of biometric data, cameras everywhere, GPS, geo-tracking, and locations. Don't some of these vehicles use fingerprints or like Face ID to even unlock the vehicles? Like,
yeah, don't buy a Tesla if you're a criminal, bruv. If you're planning to be a murderous villain, do not get a Tesla.
Obviously, which is why everybody's so irritated, because how did they not even, why have they not made any arrest yet? Given the level of security surveillance in 2025, I'm pretty sure they already know who was in that vehicle. Like, let's be honest, California is one of the most surveilled states in the entire union. And as you can see on David's page, he hasn't really made any updates. He actually dipped down below 2 million followers and then gained all that shit back. So it's just like, wow. It seems like he has way more support now than he did prior to Celeste being found in his Tesla.
Yeah, because most of us didn't even know him before the Tesla thing. We might have just seen his name floating around, but we actually didn't listen to the music, a lot of us. And we only listened to the music once she passed away, or once the story came out. And unfortunately, David is talented. He has some good songs. So it becomes a weird thing where it's like, okay, you discover these good songs. You actually kind of like the songs. But then on the flip side, he's a murdering flippin' nutcase. So it's a bit tricky here.
But to quickly get into the meat and potatoes, according to TMZ, they say Celeste Rivas investigation. PI thinks sadistic plans were set for teen's corpse. Whatever the hell that means. Hopefully it has nothing to do with necrophilia. We already had this story surrounding pedophilia. Let's not dive into the territory of people trying to mess with dead bodies.
Nah, I don't think bro, that's disgusting. Like, if he's on that level, then bro, we just need to give him the death sentence, bro. Once, bro.
The private investigator hired to probe Celeste Rivas' death case has made a harrowing revelation. He thinks there was a, and I quote, sadistic plan made to get rid of the teen. And
sadistic or satanic.
Of course, our theories is that, she either OD'd or she was pregnant or both. Who knows? People also think she wanted to reveal the relationship to the world, naturally, of course. And because of that, either David, a manager, or somebody within his circle, knowing that that would mess up the money and sending to prison, said, hey, we gotta find a solution to this to shut her up. They say the PI says that he can't spill much, but thinks the original plan went wrong at some point, and that the Tesla, where her dismembered corpse was found in early September, was supposed to be a holding spot, so a temporary spot before transferring her body to somewhere else.
That was early September. If you think about it, it's almost the end of October. How time is fast moving, bro? How time is fast moving? How fast is time moving, man?
They also say Steve, who was hired by the homeowner of the $3.6 million Hollywood Hills home singer David stayed in. Remember that home he was staying in, he abandoned after, I suppose, people started showing up, investigators started pulling up, he had to dip. Yeah, apparently the owner of that mansion, who was rightfully creeped the fuck out, hired this guy to find out what the hell happened in his home. I would do the same if I were a homeowner, especially of a mansion that I'm renting out to a famous person, and then they're all of a sudden linked to a dead body of a minor. I don't want to be culpable of that.
He didn't know. He didn't even know that David was staying there. The owner of the house, he didn't even know that. He only found out after the news came out.
I don't want the FBI thinking I had anything to do with that, so I'm going to err on the side of caution, hire a PI to figure out what the hell was happening in my home. But here's some footage, an interview and shout out to Law and Crime Network on YouTube. I'm sure we're all familiar with them. They had an interview with the PI on this case.
Yeah, sidebar be doing everything, bro. Anything going on any cases going on in like pop culture sidebars there, bro?
From law enforcement investigating this, and here's what he had to say.
Person where I think things are a lot easier than people try to make them sometimes, especially online, into these big things. And I thought this was going to be a tragic overdose, which it very well still could be. And they made a bad decision because they didn't want to expose a potential relationship and put her in this Tesla. And then maybe he thought he could get somebody to get rid of that car. And they were just like, no, I'm not doing it. And just got left there. But I will say this, there are some things that, and I'm talking physical evidence that was at that house that is there could have been greater plans as far as getting rid of her, and it's scary, sadistic stuff. And that's why we're trying to learn more about that. I wish I could say more, but for obvious reasons I can't. But it doesn't have to do with how she died, but maybe how they were planning on ultimately getting rid of her, and how maybe that Tesla was just a holding spot at the time, and things just, their timing was just off as far as getting this done.
I'm just going to say, here's my theory and I'm sticking with it. She either wanted to speak because she was pregnant. She wanted to make everything public, right? Or she was just getting tired of the secrets, and she finally wanted to make this relationship public, knowing that it would destroy his career and his life. Possibly they got into an argument and she said, this is why this, that, and the third. I'm going to tell what you've done with me. I'm going to tell the whole world that you're dating a minor. You met me when I was this old, at this age. I'm going to destroy your career. And of course, naturally, anybody in that position that David would have been in. By the way, this is all speculation.
But how does, okay, but if that's your theory, but how would ending her life make it better? Because I feel like you're just drawing more attention to yourself, because people are going to ask questions like, where is she? Where did she go? Where's this 12-year-old girl? Clearly she has parents. Clearly she has a family. Like, I don't think offing her is going to make your problems go away. You know what I'm saying? I think that just amounts to your problems and adds on.
Being in that position, backed into a corner, possibly being exposed for a legit federal crime. He and anybody else in his circle, knowing about the situation, would have started devising a plan to make sure she never has the chance to expose anything, to make sure she never has the chance to make anything public.
She's exposed it now. Even from the other side, she's exposed him now, hasn't she?
And honestly, as I've stated in many videos before, please watch your children. The world, since the beginning of time, in civilization, society, and in nature, is full of predators. From tigers, lions, bears, snakes, spiders, all the way on up into sadistic, murdering, serial killing human beings. These people, these creatures, these things will always exist. But what you can do is protect yourself and being proactive in your life and in your family.
Take myself with a VPN.
Lives and your children's lives and anybody else for that matter that you care about. Clearly, based off of everything that I've learned about the situation, Celeste just didn't have enough protection. Maybe, naturally, teen girls, they become a little rebellious. It is what it is, but that is when you really have to step it up, no matter what modern society wants to tell you.
As a grown man, one piece of advice I could tell you, bro, just avoid teen girls. Avoid teen girls. Teen girls will get you in the hottest waters ever, bro. For no good reason, bro. Teen girls don't think, boy. They're still young. The brain hasn't developed, bro. They still think teen girls, bro. Hey, just avoid, bro. Else you're going to jail. You're going to jail.
Bro, you as a father or mother, you gotta you have to try your best to save your child from this cold world. Obviously protect them, provide for them, and teach them about the realities, but also protect them from these dangerous pitfalls that can, mortally wound them. Have them end up in jail, shot, dismembered, killed. You guys, I don't have to spell this out for anybody. It's a cold world we live in, and it's just a shame what happened.
Has anyone from David's team, management, legal, anybody reached out to you or your client?
I know that my client's been in touch with his manager, but only for the purpose of the lease, because they did ask to terminate the lease. And I believe the other manager that technically was the owner of the red Tesla, I think was in touch with him because they needed access to the house to get that vehicle and stuff out. Because that's another thing that they could be key in this, is that there's only one key to that house, and who had that and who had access to it and who was in it. Because we also have evidence that while David was on tour at the time between the Tesla being found and the search warrant being served, David was on tour, but somebody was in that house. And there was actually a report made, not with police, but that homeowner association has a robust private security company, and we've gotten videos from them and reports. And so who had that key is probably the same person that, had access to the Tesla.
So it sounds like this is a hitman, an assassin. And of course, if you're rich, you don't want to get your hands dirty. And if you're the manager, you definitely don't want to get your hands dirty.
Imagine hiring an assassin to take out a 12-year-old girl. That's some weak shit, bro. That's some weak shit.
For your artist, your client. So yeah, they probably hired somebody from like SoCal or some shit to pull up. I don't know where, I forgot the address, but in the hills, right?
SoCal
David was living in.
shooter.
Anybody involved in this case remotely allocated to be a co-conspirator, they're gonna get their reputation and career destroyed. This guy is probably just a random landlord slash homeowner in the Hollywood Hills. He probably has multiple properties and he doesn't want to have this entire situation tarnishing his entire real estate career. I get it. As a business owner, one of your clients fuck up, you don't want to be culpable for their actions. Totally understandable.
Do you know who that person is, and do you believe that is the person that moved the Tesla?
So I definitely know who moved that Tesla on that late July before they went on tour. I can't say who the person, and I don't mean I can't say but I don't know who exactly was in that house, because it's just a report, but there's video, but you can't make a person out. But somebody was in the house, and being that there's only one key, it's like, okay, who had access at that time? So is it the same person that moved the Tesla? Was another last part of the plan about to go in motion as far as getting rid of her body? I don't know.
Man, that's got to be scary. Imagine, David on tour, and he knows that she knows that he knows that she may one day speak up about this, and he's thinking in the back of my mind, I can't go to prison. This is crazy. And she's been saying wild shit, right? He's now having image after image.
Bro's just creating his own scenario, bro. You can't just create your own stories of what's happening, bro. Maury, come on, bro. You're supposed to be reporting it. Bro's just creating his own
After
scenario.
leak indicating that he was definitely in a relationship with her, and the one thing that could really expose him and really get him caught up is her word, verifying everything, corroborating everything. So he probably went on tour, he left her back at his house saying, all right, whatever, you can stay here and chill. Mind you, at this point in time, she already ran away. So she's thinking everything is cool and peachy and fine, right? But on David's side, he already knows that he has this set in motion. This is speculation, by the way. Him and his team or whoever already probably hired somebody, possibly, to come and take her out to smoke her. And I'm just like, bro, if something like that actually happened, can you imagine the amount of fear coursing through her body during the last moments of her life? Like, holy shit. Assuming this was an actual assassin. Well, I don't know if regular people can be classified as assassinated, but I'm saying, like, an assassin coming to take her out. I just gotta say, this entire case, in my opinion, is the spookiest shit I've ever covered on this entire it's the most convoluted too, but it's incredibly spooky, it's creepy, and I'm telling you 100%, if this happened to any normal person, any normal civilian, we would have, the case would have already started, and we would have been on our way to prison by now. I assure.
Yeah, because the thing is, with a normal civilian, it's a lot easier to get a normal civilian in the jailhouse, bro. It's a lot easier to lock up a normal civilian. But when it comes to somebody with money, power, fame, status, lawyers, labels, backing, a lot of resources, yeah, you kind of want to build a strong case. You kind of want to be sure before. It's like the same thing with what happened with Raja. When it's high-profile people, you gotta kind of make sure that they don't slip through the cracks. So you want to be very, very careful with your investigation. When it's a normal person, it's just kind of like, bro, what are you gonna do?
And yeah, people in the comments are now saying, finally, an exclusive update from Law and Crime, not just some regurgitated old news. Yeah, I understand, a lot of things have been recycled. Somebody else said, finally, I feel like we're getting somewhere. Big thanks to the landlord for hiring a private investigator. I know he's doing it to protect himself, but it sure did help with my anxiety on this case. Somebody said, protect himself. How? How would a crime that happened on his property affect him legally? I don't know. Some people are not bright. They don't understand.
Well, obviously it's business, right? It's like, imagine somebody comes to your business, like let's say you own a restaurant, and they come to the restaurant and they just start shooting up everybody, and then like 10 people die at your restaurant. Do you think people are gonna still come to your restaurant? Huh? No. Exactly. And that is exactly why he wants to protect himself.
How you owning a property and a crime happening on it can lead you to being liable for that crime. It happens. But of course, OP responded back by saying it happened at his properties. So he would want to know to what extent his property is involved with a potential crime. So that should just be obvious. But hey, ladies and gentlemen, That said,
And
with
then
these
look what he
involved,
says at the bottom. Yes, but no harm will come of that. Possibly a forensics team will investigate, and when they're done, they'll return the. Bro, that has nothing to do with my reputation, and what I could be liable for. You don't know those things, bro. You don't know that no harm will come of that. How do you know? Are you the law, Mr. Orange J flipping profile picture?
the potential crimes. That should just be obvious, but hey. Ladies and gentlemen, that said, with this update, what do you think about this? Thoughts and opinions down below. This is crazy.
Bro, this is crazy. This is crazy. Every time we check back in with the David case, we see that it just becomes more and more absurd, you know? It's like these Hollywood cases just never make sense. They aren't black and white. There's always this gray area where you just don't know what the hell, you know, could have gone on, or what happened, or nobody wants to say what really went down. But I guess we're still investigating, so we're going to find out very soon. Stay tuned. You know what I'm saying? Keep it locked, keep it loaded. And we're going to, you know, be back here soon, I assume. Like, comment, and subscribe. It's your boy. Catch you in the next one. Stay blessed, stay beautiful. Yes, sir.